Welcome back. My name is Avinash, and in this video, I'm going to discuss how we can enable communication between multiple VNets by using different options. So far, whatever the VMs we have deployed only within a VNet. As those resources, like both VMs are running in same VNet, we don't need to configure any additional things to establish the communication. But what if you have another VNet in another region? Or what if you have multiple VNets in same region? If you observe here, so we have a region Y. So region Y has VNet B and VNet C. So both are running in same region. So still both cannot communicate. So if you want to enable communication, so you can choose regional VNet peering. And if you have any VNet in region X and another any VNet in region Y, if you want to enable communication, you can call that as a global VNet peering. So now, along with these, we do have multiple options for inter-site connectivity. For example, if you want to enable communication between on-premise to Azure, so we can use multiple options. So if you observe this architectural diagram, let's treat this as an on-premise environment network. So here is our VNet. Within this VNet, we have multiple subnets. This is our VNet and this is a subnet symbol. So this is one subnet where our VMs are running. So if you want to enable communication between on-premise to Azure environment, we have multiple options. The first option is deploy a gateway subnet. So basically, this gateway subnet will have a VPN gateway. So this VPN gateway, once we deployed, then we can enable site-to-site VPN connectivity from on-premise to Azure gateway. Right. So that is a one option. So we are going to have a device in on-premise, and by configuring that with our gateway subnet deployed gateway, so then we can enable communication. So that is one option. Second option is we can use express route. So when coming to this express route, it is like a dedicated connectivity between Azure environment to our on-premise environment. So Azure is going to place a device here. They will configure, and we need to choose what bandwidth we required. So with the help of that, we are going to we can establish connectivity. So when coming to this first example, gateway, so we technically call it as a site-to-site VPN connectivity. So your organization may have their own firewalls or routers. So the physical device, we can download a configuration. Once we created this gateway subnet, with the help of that configuration, we can configure this firewall or router. So then we can establish the connection. Right. So along with this, we do have another option that is a point to site connection. So whoever sitting in some remote locations, right? If they want to get connected to this Azure VNet and if they want to uh, access the resources, we do have another option called point to site connections where the user need to download the profiles and he need to configure in his laptop or device. So then he can access. Right. So that is a Azure to on-premise. Right, so now within this peering connection itself, if you don't want to use peering over the internet, whatever the peering you are going to establish, for example, this is a VNet A and this is VNet B. I need to rename this. All right, so let's assume this is 172.31.0.0/16. So if you want to enable communication between these VNets, so what you can do, you can create a peering. But what happened? That peering data transmission happen over the internet. So you have a requirement that transmission should not happen over the internet. So then whatever the gateway subnet you have here and here, we can establish VNet to VNet connection. So the with the help of uh, a Microsoft backend connectivity, backend link. The data transmission will happen between these VNets. So the peering, transmission over the internet, and if you want to privately send and receive the data between these VNets, so then we can use VNet to VNet connection. And if you want to establish communication to on-premise, so we have an option called express route connection or site-to-site VPN connection. So we have the express route connection, and this is site-to-site connection. I need to work a bit more on this. This is a site-to-site or VPN connection. This is an express route connection. All right, so now let's jump in and let's see how we can configure this. So if you observe, I already have a couple of virtual machines here. So I have a virtual machine in central India. So this have public IP address. This have public IP address. So from my local laptop, I'm going to get connected to it. And along with this um, Central India one, I have another VM that is a US West 3. So this US West 3 is actually don't have any public IP address. So I want to use a private IP address to establish communication between this jump machine and this US West. So basically, we should not call it as a jump. You can call it as any machine. Jump is not a proper word here, but I already have it, so I'm using that machine. So technically, one VM in US West, another VM is in Central India. Right, so now here I am going to connect to this Central India machine with the help of Bastion. Go here, I'm giving a name and click on connect. All right, I got connected to this Bastion. Now from this machine, so what we can do, we can try to ping that US West machine. So let's go to US West, navigate to networking. You can find the private IP address. Go here. Let's try to ping it. Okay, let's copy paste not working. I think I selected that. Copy paste. It should work. Okay, so when I'm trying to ping, it's not working. So even if you try to SSH, something like that, that also won't work. So to test internet, I'm going to ping google.com. I do have internet within this machine. So but this pinging US West machine is not working. Why? Because so both are running in different VNets. So both cannot communicate now. So to establish communication, so navigate to VNets and you can pick any of the VNet. And if you scroll bit here, you can find an option called peering. Navigate to peerings, click on add. So you give a name. Okay, I'm going to call this as India to US pairing, US West 3 actually. Let's go with the simple names. So I'm going with most of the default options here and pairing link name. I'm going to call this as India to US West. And I'm using resource manager for the deployment method. Subscription, I'm going with free. In what virtual network you want to deploy? So compute RG VNet is overlapping. A virtual network cannot be paired with itself. Okay. All right. So I selected compute RG VNet. So basically, I'm creating a peering in compute RG VNet. So if you are selecting same VNet, so it cannot paid itself, right? So that's the reason it's giving this error. I scared little by looking at that error. So select US West RG VNet. So then scroll down, click on add. So now you see here, It's adding two virtual network pairings. So we are creating by selecting compute RG So now in that US West VNet also, one pairing connection is going to create. It's a like a reciprocal. So two-way. Right. So once this pairing connection completed, once this is active, so then we can go and we can test the communication here. So Google is working. Let's try to ping this. You see now, just some time back, when we are trying to ping to this 1.0.4, it's not happened. But now you see, whenever we are trying to ping, it's happening. So not only this, you can even take a remote connectivity or you can SSH into that machine. So the pairing is actually allowing us the communication here. So it got connected. So now I'll do one thing. I'll keep this ping open and I'm going to delete this pairing. So as I told, the pairing is a two-way that is going to delete now. So once it got deleted, this ping will stop. So the communication is deleted or breakdown between those VNets. All right, that is how exactly we can configure pairing. And in our next video, we will discuss how to configure this VNet to VNet connection. All right, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, guys.